to you first what the circumference, area, volume, surface area, and perimeter means. So obviously perimeter, area are definitely going to be a review. Everybody remembers that. But a perimeter is the space if you're walking around something. So it's the outside perimeter. So this is like you plant a garden and you want to build a fence around it. You're going to find what the perimeter is. Okay. Area is the space inside. And that would be if you are buying soil, you need to know how many feet or bags or whatever, cubic inches or yards, depending on how big. So this is the area around, like you're building a fence. This is the area inside, like you're building a floor. You need to know how many tiles, or you're buying soil. Does that make sense to both of you? Mm-hmm. Okay. Volume is a liquid measurement. So that's the first thing. And it's also a 3D area. So this is flat, right? This is flat. Volume is always, you're filling something up. So it has to be like a container. So for example, if I wanted to find out, there's my water with lots of lemon in it. So if I want to find out how much it can fit in here, I'm going to be measuring volume. If I want to measure how, I don't know if I have something in here. So now I have this glass and I just put it this way. And I want to find out how big this is. That would be perimeter. An area would be how much would this piece hold right here? Just this. Like how much space is here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing is called surface area. And the surface area is if this was a piece of paper, so I'm going to get a piece of paper and I'm going to show you. So surface area is, I have this glass and I'm going to cut it and I'm going to make it into a rectangle. How much space, how much surface, if I took this cup and I split it and I unfolded it, how much surface of this desk would it take up? So, for example, let's hope that this is the exact, okay, it's almost the exact, right? So I want to unfold this and see, it would take up almost this much of the desk. Kind of makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Another example is if you get an Amazon package and you take the box apart, what is, before you take the box apart, would be the volume. That would be how much fits inside of it. So if I filled it with soil, that would be the amount of square feet that was in the box. That's area. If I took it apart and unfolded it and I put it against a wall, how much of the wall would it take up? So you have a shape that looks like this, right? And you're going to unfold it and it's going to look something like that. This is surface area. Carter, you probably don't remember learning it because they probably breezed by it. Lauren, you're going to spend probably a few weeks on this for next year. So you will have been exposed to it. Okay, so let's go over the formulas. And you'll have this sheet. I'll send it you guys the link. So a triangle we show as having side A, B, and C. And one side is the base and one side is the height. So what you're going to find is probably both of you are going to remember this. You're going to find a dotted line that goes down like that. That's how you're going to know what the base is. Okay? So our formula for area is 1/2 base times height. So we're just going to do A, B, and C. And this is your base right here. So we're going to say base is 5, and this is your height right here. Makes sense? Height is how high something is. So we're going to say that base is 5 and height is 4. So the first step in doing any of this always is to write out the formula. And I love teaching the Adaires because you guys are all about being neat and organized. And so most kids just want to go into it, but I know my Adaires will do A equals 1/2 base times height. So that's always step 1.
We like to see it spelled out.
That's right. You are organized and neat. I never have to say a word to you guys about that. Step 2 is you plug in the numbers in your problem. So you're going to do A equals 1/2, and then you're going to fill in what the B is, which is 5. And because these numbers or these letters are touching each other, that means multiplication. So now we know order of operations says to just, this is all multiplication, right? So you just do 1/2 times 20 is 10. Make sense? Okay. Let's say this was in centimeters. So we're going to label our answer. My Adaires are also step 1, 2, 3, 4. So the third step is to write your answer and label it. And the fourth step, I put it as a fourth step because I never want anyone to forget it, is you write units squared. Area is always in units squared. Do you remember that, Lauren, from last year?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so if you're finding out perimeter, say you want to find out the perimeter of this and it was in centimeters, perimeter is just in centimeters, areas in centimeters squared. Volume is in centimeters cubed, and surface area, which is SA, is in centimeters squared. So the only thing you have to remember is that area and surface area are both in squared units.
Yeah, I don't remember much about surface area.
Yeah,
That's the one thing.
I will tell you this. 3 years ago, I don't remember teaching this to anybody, so I'm not sure that you guys, they're learning it now in 6th and 7th grade. But, yeah, I don't know that they did when you were back in 6th and 7th grade. So, anyway, it's going to be good. Surface area is very complicated, but I know how you guys both think. I think you'll like it. It's complicated, but it's kind of fun to do a little bit. Not like,
Sounds good.
not like river rafting, but okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that is the formula for area. Perimeter is easy for a triangle, and that's when you're going to go ahead and use this A. So a lot of kids go, well, why are there 3 sides and we're only using 2? Because you do use it for perimeter. So perimeter would be A plus B plus C. So say B was 5, the height, which is C, is 4, and then A is 6. You would just do 5 plus 4 plus 6. So you write out the formula, you plug in the numbers, and then you solve. It'd be 16 centimeters, and it's not squared or cubed. It's just regular plain old centimeters. Make sense? Okay. So that's what you're going to do for all of these: rectangle, trapezoid, parallelogram, and circle. But they're going to have different, because they're different shapes, they're going to have different formulas. But you're going to do the same exact thing. Step 1 is to write the formula. Then you're going to plug in what's unique to that shape and that formula. Then you're going to solve, and then step 4 is to make sure you have your units down. So I will do quick ones for each of them. So rectangle is length times width. So we're going to do width and length. This is the length. So I'm going to say our length is 10 and our width is 4. And we're going to first write the formula, A equals length times width. Then we're going to plug in. Our length is 10 and our width is 4. Step 3 is solving. And then step 4 is putting our units squared.
Okay.
Makes sense? Okay. Trapezoid, we have A, C, D, B, and H. Our formula is A equals 1/2 times B1 plus B2 times height. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in A equals 1/2. This is base 1. This is base 2. So we're going to do, say it's 8 plus, it's probably about 5. And then our height is this right here. So we're going to say that's times 4. So order of operations says that we always solve within these parentheses, right? So we're going to write out our formula. We're going to solve just inside the parentheses. And then we're just going to rewrite the rest of the problem. Make sense to you guys?
Mhm.
Then we're...
And oh, sorry.
That's okay.
The D is just a base, right?
So when you're doing other stuff, you're going to deal with that. But for area, which is almost exclusively what you're going to talk about, it is all we do is this and this, and then the height.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, so we're going to do 13 times 4 is 52 divided by 2. Is area equals 26 centimeters squared. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Lauren, you're okay?
Sort of.
Okay.
You kind of just plug in the formulas.
Yeah, and I'm recording this, Lauren, so
Yeah.
you guys will just have
Can I
to...
write this down in my notebook?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Why don't you get that?
No, I'll rewatch the video.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is a parallelogram, and you have side A and B. This is your base, and then this is your height. So we're going to say area equals B times H. So our area is going to be 8 times 4. Area equals 32 centimeters squared. The biggest thing is knowing the formulas, and this sheet is gold.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm so glad you showed me that, because, I mean, if you have that, you can pretty much
Yeah,
do anything.
exactly. And then when you guys print this out, you're going to stop the video and write this, because nobody's going to do all of it on one page. It's too crazy. But I said it's crazy not to have it on the same page. Okay. And then a circle is, there are a few things to know. So the first thing is that there are parts of a circle that we have to know. So when you're measuring the outside of the circle, this is called circumference. This is your diameter. So we have this cup right here. This whole inside from here to here is the measurement of the diameter. Half of it over to one side, so from here in the middle to one side is the radius. So it's just our language. So here are the parts of the circle. The area that you're going to be measuring around is called the circumference. Half of the middle, I know Carter's going, Teacher Ann, that is not the middle, but close enough. Okay.
It's fine.
So the middle to one side is called the radius. And then the measurement from one side to the other is called the diameter. And what you will realize is that the radius is half of the diameter. And the second thing you're going to notice is that the diameter is 2 times the radius. Does that make sense to you, Lauren?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so half of the diameter is called the radius. And if you did 2 radiuses, which maybe is called a radii, that would be the diameter. So that's the 2 things to remember. When they're giving you a formula, they might give you the radius or they might give you the diameter. Here's the tricky part. If you're finding the area of a circle, you're going to do pi r squared. So suppose they said the diameter equals 10. We're not going to just plug that 10 into r. What are we going to have to do? If this is the radius and this is the diameter, what do we have to do to this 10?
Well, you have to divide 10 by 2.
Exactly.
First. Yeah.
Yep. And on your calculator, you're going to have a pi button. Or you can almost always just use 3.14. Carter, you probably remember that. Lauren, you might have learned that, but they just probably did it pretty quickly.
Okay.
So,
I don't think I did.
okay. Area equals pi r squared is our formula. And then we know that the diameter is 10, so I'm going to put that the radius is 5. Now I'm going to plug in 3.14 for pi. Then I'm going to plug in the 5, and it's squared. So we always do, in order of operations, we always do exponents first. This looks like it's parentheses, right, Lauren? But it's really not, it's multiplication. So parentheses means that there's something going on inside of parentheses and you've got to do something to it. This parentheses is just being used as a way not to just write 3.145 squared because that doesn't make sense, right? So we just put parentheses around it so that the numbers are separated, but they don't technically mean parentheses. So the first thing we do here is our exponent, which is 5 times 5, because that's what 5 squared is. And you're going to multiply that by 3.14. So area equals 78.5 centimeters squared, or whatever the label is. Okay, so what we just did here is like 3 weeks of math for Lauren and probably a week of math for you, Carter. I don't know how quickly they're going to go. So we just did a lot is what I'm trying to say. I'm just showing you overall, all of them follow the same exact steps, which are write the formula. Doesn't matter what the formula is, each shape has its own. Then always step 2, no matter what the shape is, no matter what the formula is, you're going to plug in the numbers. And then step 3 is solve and label your answer. And step 4 is to make it squared if it's area or surface area, to make it cubed if it is volume, and then to not have any number as an exponent if it's perimeter. So those are kind of the ones that you're going to focus on for the year, circle, parallelogram, trapezoid, rectangle, triangle. Carter, you're going to do a lot more with circles. And yeah, it's just obviously, if I'm teaching this to Lauren and I'm teaching it to you, yours is always going to go a step higher, but this is how they start. They do a review of all of the formulas, no matter what grade you're in. When you do geometry, this is like geometry 101.
Right.
So, and then, we aren't going to have enough time to go into, we need a lot of time for volume and surface area, but I will tell you this. It's the same exact thing. It's just, look at how it's a lot more work, right?
It's just more numbers. Right?
Exactly. But it is kind of a little bit fun. So, volume, we can go over that quickly. So volume, again, means that you're working with a 3D shape because you're measuring the inside of it and it holds liquid. That's how we know we're doing volume. So, in order for something, if I had a piece of, if I had this has no volume. It's a calculator. You cannot pour water into it. So this would not have volume. This pen,
Right.
no volume. This cup, yes. A bucket, yes. This container, all has volume. Okay, so volume is actually pretty easy. If you're doing a rectangular prism, which means that this right here, the face of it, is a rectangle. You're going to do length times width times height. Here is the length. Here is the width. It's how wide that box that you got from Amazon is. And then the height is how high it is. So this is length, this is width, and this is height. Lauren, do you understand that? I know, Carter, you've learned this before.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. So they're going to give you length, width, and height. Say our length is 10, our width is 4, and our height is 5. All you have to do is write out the formula, then plug in your numbers, and then multiply across. 10 times 4 times 5, so 10 times 20 is 200 centimeters, and now we're at volume, so we're cubed, not squared.
Okay.
Make sense?
Mhm.
Poor Lauren. We've broke Lauren. She's like, oh my gosh. But just know, I'm just exposing you to it. So it's not like I expect you to memorize any of this. I just want you to go, hey, I remember learning that. And, work with it this week. Watch the video 4 times or so. And then you start, oh, I kind of get that. You're not going to learn this again until probably close to the end of next year. But they're going to, kind of go quickly around it. So,
Lauren's she's also tired too because she got her second shot.
Oh, well, I'm happy you got your shot. When did you turn 12?
Close to a year. Or my birthday's in November, so I turned November
Ah.
13th.
Well,
So-
did you get your shot yesterday?
Yeah, I did.
Well, tomorrow you should be almost 100%. It's that. Carter, how about you?
We actually got ours kind of late. I got mine last Friday, so.
And he got hit in the right where the vaccine is. It was still sore, and he got hit by. He was playing lacrosse, and someone hit him right there.
Oh.
He has a bad bruise now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, you should be fine tomorrow. It's that quick of a recovery. It's like you feel like you got hit by a bus one day, and the next day you're like, wait, why am I okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Another formula is called a right circular cylinder. And that one is base times height for volume. So we're going to say that the height is 10 and the base is 7. So then you're just going to plug in base times height. Volume equals 70 centimeters cubed. So, like I said, each one has its own. You just take it piece by piece. Do not worry about surface area. Next time. So I think I'm making a video for you guys next week. I will not put this on just a video because you will be like, oh my gosh, what is she talking about? Surface area takes more time. You got to kind of go gently with it because it is overwhelming if you just, area and perimeter, that's one thing. Volume, it's not that overwhelming. Surface area can get really crazy looking. So I will not do that in a video. I'll wait till we can interact together, but yeah, I'm not even sure Lauren should. Maybe Lauren, you can just sit in and kind of just get exposure to it.
Okay.
Yeah, experience it.
Yeah, just have an surface area experience. But Lauren, area and perimeter are important for you to know now. Volume and surface area, you can kind of go, but I think by now you should have area, and you don't have to have it memorized. You just have to not be overwhelmed when you look at it and go, I have no idea what to do.
Okay.
So I will send this video to both of you, and then I will send you this to print out. It is the best I've seen so far. So, any questions?
I'm okay. Lauren, how about you?
I mean,
Does it at least make sense to you, Lauren, that you write out the formula, you figure out?
yeah.
Okay. That's the biggest thing, that you become familiar with it. Volume and surface area for you, Lauren, I don't care as much. Carter, I do care for you. It's important for you to go in knowing this and feeling strong about it. So.
I think I still need to learn more about that weird sign pi, is it?
Yeah, so you don't, this is what you need to know. When it's in a problem, this is a symbol that stands for 3.14. So whenever you see this, just like when you see a 5, you call it a 5. You can call this whatever you want, but it's 3.14.
Okay.
It could be called cake. It still stands for 3.14. So when you're doing your calculations, instead of writing a 5, you're going to write, or instead of writing a symbol, you're going to write 3.14 times 6. So if this was the problem, that's what you're doing. 3.14 times 6 would be 18.84. So, yeah, don't let it intimidate you. It just means 3.14.
Okay.
It's no big deal. I mean, it is a big deal. It's a really cool concept that you can look up what it actually means and how they came up with it. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's not like as cool as river rafting, but again, none of it's that cool, but it's kind of interesting. And they round it. It's really this really, 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 really big long number. And you can actually learn a rap. You can look it up on the internet. Ty and his buddies learned all of the numbers for 3.14 in a rap, but it's summer, so you can decide whether you want to do it. We just call it 3.14.
Okay.
Yeah, much easier.
I might just stick with that.
Yeah, it's probably best.
Yeah.
So, okay, awesome. Have a good rest of your week, guys, and I will see you. I think your guys are off next week, if I'm not mistaken. I will see you the next time we're scheduled, which I don't know when that is.
Okay.
I would guess like
I don't know about definitely not